The manila envelope felt heavier than it should have when the process server handed it to me that Tuesday afternoon. I remember standing in my doorway, still in my work clothes, watching him walk back to his car as if he'd just delivered a pizza instead of potentially destroying my world. My hands trembled as I tore it open, and there it was in bold letters, petition for full custody, Rachel's name at the bottom, along with her brother Matt's law firm letterhead. I sank onto my porch steps, reading through the accusations. Negligent father, unstable work schedule, inability to provide proper care. Each lie hit me like a physical blow. This was the woman I'd loved for 12 years, the mother of my 7-year-old daughter, Lily, and she was painting me as some kind of monster. The irony wasn't lost on me. Rachel, who'd been coming home drunk 3 nights a week for the past 2 years. Rachel, who'd missed Lily's school play because she was passed out on the couch. Rachel, who I'd covered for countless times when Lily asked why mommy was sick again. Clashed and Eddie. She was accusing me of being unfit. I called my lawyer friend Tom immediately. His voice was grim when he heard who was representing Rachel. Matt Brennan doesn't lose custody cases, Jacob. He's won 17 straight. And he's ruthless, especially when it comes to fathers. That night, I tucked Lily into bed, trying to keep my voice steady as I read her favorite story about a brave princess who saved her kingdom. She looked up at me with those green eyes, so much like her mother's before the drinking started. Daddy, why was mommy yelling on the phone earlier? She said she's going to make sure I live with her forever. My heart shattered, but I smoothed her dark hair and kissed her forehead. Sometimes grown-ups disagree about things, sweetheart. But no matter what happens, I love you more than all the stars in the sky. And I love you more than all the fish in the sea. She completed our nightly ritual, snuggling deeper into her princess blanket. The first court hearing was 3 weeks later. I barely slept, spending every night organizing documents, character references, school records, showing I was the one who attended every parent-teacher conference, every soccer game, and in every doctor's appointment. Tom had warned me that Matt would come out swinging, but nothing prepared me for what happened. Rachel walked in wearing a conservative dress I'd never seen before, her hair pulled back in a demure bun. Gone was the woman who'd stumbled through our front door at 2 a.m. just last week. She looked like a Sunday school teacher. Matt had coached her well. When she took the stand, I watched in disbelief as she cried on cue, describing how I'd supposedly been emotionally distant, how I'd prioritized work over family, or how she'd been forced to seek comfort elsewhere, meaning the bottles of wine hidden throughout our house. Matt presented her as a devoted mother, trying to protect her child from a cold, absent father. Then came the accusations that made my blood run cold. She claimed I'd been verbally aggressive, that Lily was afraid of me, that she'd witnessed me lose my temper multiple times. Each word was a calculated lie, but Rachel delivered them with such conviction that even I almost believed her. The judge, a stern woman named Harrison, took notes without expression. When Matt presented Rachel's evidence, selectively edited text messages where I'd expressed frustration about her drinking, taken completely out of context, I saw doubt creep across the judge's face. Tom did his best to counter, but Matt had an answer for everything. When we pointed out Rachel's drinking, Matt produced a certificate from a rehabilitation program dated 2 weeks ago. When we mentioned the nights she hadn't come home, Matt claimed I'd locked her out during arguments. It was masterful manipulation, and I was watching it happen in real time. That evening, I sat in Lily's room while she played with her dollhouse. She'd set up a little tea party with her favorite dolls. Daddy, can we have a real tea party this weekend, like we always do? Our Saturday afternoon tea parties had been our tradition since she was 4. Rachel had never joined us, usually sleeping off her Friday night binges. Of course, princess, we never miss our tea party. But as I watched her play, I wondered how many more tea parties we'd have. The custody evaluation started the following week. Dr. Patricia Chen, a child psychologist appointed by the court, would be observing both Rachel and me with Lily, visiting our homes, and ultimately making a recommendation to Judge Harrison. Rachel's house, we'd been separated for 6 months, was immaculate when Dr. Chen visited. I learned later that Matt had hired a professional staging company. The empty wine bottles were gone, replaced with educational toys and books. The holes in the wall from Rachel's drunken rages had been expertly patched and painted. It was a facade, but a convincing one. When Dr. Chen came to my apartment, I didn't try to create an illusion. Lily's artwork covered the refrigerator. Her toys were organized but accessible. Her room was her sanctuary, decorated with glow-in-the-dark stars we'd put up together, and the reading nook I'd built for her. During the observation, Lily was herself, bright, chatty, showing Dr. Chen her favorite books and the science project we'd been working on about butterflies, but I noticed Rachel had been coaching her. When Dr. Chen asked about Mommy, Lily recited, "Mommy takes good care of me and makes sure I'm safe." The words sounded rehearsed, hollow, coming from my usually expressive daughter. The worst part came when Dr. Chen asked Lily where she wanted to live. My daughter's eyes filled with tears. I don't want to make anyone sad," she whispered. It was clear she'd been put in an impossible position, told by her mother that choosing Daddy would hurt Mommy. That night, Tom called with bad news. Matt's filed an emergency motion. He's claiming you've been coaching Lily to speak against Rachel. He wants supervised visitation only. I threw my phone across the room, then immediately regretted it. Lily appeared in the doorway, frightened. "Daddy, are you okay?" I pulled her into my arms. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I just got some frustrating news, but everything's going to be okay." She hugged me tighter. "Mommy says you might have to go away. She says the judge will make sure we're safe from you." Her little voice broke. "But Daddy, I already feel safe with you." Why does mommy say these things? The emergency hearing was a disaster. Matt had somehow obtained a video from Rachel's phone showing me raising my voice, not at Lily, but at Rachel during one of her drunken tirades. Of course, the video didn't show Rachel throwing a glass at the wall moments before, or Lily crying in her room. It only showed me, frustrated and angry, telling Rachel she needed help. Judge Harrison granted temporary supervised visitation. I would only see Lily for 4 hours every Saturday, with a court-appointed supervisor present. The look of confusion on Lily's face when the supervisor arrived for our first visit broke me. "Why is this lady here for our tea party, Daddy?" she asked, setting up her tiny china set. "She's just here to make sure we have a fun time," I managed, pouring imaginary tea with shaking hands. The supervisor, a kind woman named Maria, tried to be unobtrusive, but her presence changed everything. Lily was quieter, constantly looking between us, trying to understand why a stranger was watching us play. Meanwhile, Matt was building his case methodically. He subpoenaed my work records, trying to paint my job as a project manager as too demanding for single parenthood. He brought in Rachel's friends to testify, friends who'd never seen her drunk because she hid it so well in public, friends who believed her stories about my supposed emotional abuse. Tom was doing everything he could, but we were playing defense. We needed something concrete, something that would expose Rachel's lies. That's when Sarah, Rachel's former best friend, called me. "Jacob, I can't stay quiet anymore," she said. "Rachel's been texting me, bragging about how Matt's going to destroy you in court. She's been drinking more than ever. Last night, she drove to the liquor store with Lily in the car. I have doorbell camera footage." My hands clenched around the phone. "She drove drunk with Lily?" "She's spiraling, Jacob. The pressure of maintaining this perfect mother act is making her worse. I've been documenting everything, the texts, the videos, the times she's called me drunk while Lily was supposedly asleep." Sarah's evidence was damning, but Matt fought to keep it out of court. He argued it was obtained improperly, that Sarah had violated Rachel's privacy, that the footage was unclear. Judge Harrison allowed some of it, but not all. Still, it was enough to shift the momentum slightly. The real turning point came from an unexpected source. Maria, the visitation supervisor, had been taking detailed notes. After 6 sessions, she approached Tom with her observations. "Mr. Kemp," she said, "I've supervised hundreds of visits. The bond between Jacob and Lily is genuine and strong. The child is completely comfortable with him, seeks him out for comfort, and displays none of the fear responses I'd expect if the mother's allegations were true." Her report to the court was glowing, but Matt attacked her credibility, suggesting she'd been charmed by me, that she didn't understand the subtle signs of emotional manipulation. It was sickening to watch him twist reality so expertly. Then Rachel made a mistake. Emboldened by Matt's success, she became overconfident. She started calling me, leaving voicemails that ranged from pleading to threatening. One night, she was clearly intoxicated. "You think you're such a perfect father, Jacob? You're nothing. I'm going to take everything from you. Lily will forget you even exist. Matt says we can claim abuse, real abuse. All I need is a few bruises, and who do you think they'll believe?" I saved every message. Tom's eyes lit up when he heard them. "This is it, Jacob. This is what we needed." But would it be enough? Rachel had Matt, and Matt had a perfect record. The final hearing was in 2 weeks, and everything hinged on those few days in court. During my next supervised visit, Lily was unusually quiet. Finally, she looked up at me with tears in her eyes. "Daddy, I don't understand what's happening. Mommy says you're trying to take me away from her, but you told me she's trying to take me away from you. I just want us all to be happy again." I pulled her close, Maria watching from the corner. "Sometimes, princess, families change, but my love for you will never, ever change. No matter what happens in court, no matter where you live, I will always be your daddy, and I will always fight for you." The final hearing arrived like a storm. The courtroom was packed, Rachel's family on one side, my parents and siblings on the other. Rachel wore another conservative outfit, but I noticed her hands trembling. The pressure was getting to her. Matt came out aggressive, presenting a psychological evaluation that suggested I had control issues and difficulty processing emotions appropriately. The evaluator had met with me once for 45 minutes. It was a hit piece, but it sounded professional. Then he brought out his star witness, Rachel. She took the stand with practiced tears, describing our marriage as years of subtle control and manipulation. She claimed I'd isolated her from friends, monitored her spending, criticized her parenting. Each lie was woven with just enough truth to sound plausible. "He would undermine me with Lily," she said, dabbing at her eyes, telling her she didn't have to listen to Mommy, that Daddy's rules were the only ones that mattered. He was turning her against me. The projection was stunning. She was describing exactly what she'd been doing, but attributing it to me. Tom's cross-examination was brutal but necessary. He asked about the rehabilitation certificate. "Mrs. Brennan, this certificate is dated just 2 weeks before you filed for custody. Isn't it convenient that you sought help only when you needed to look good for court?" "I've been struggling with stress," Rachel replied smoothly. "The end of our marriage was difficult. And this stress caused you to drink?" "Occasionally. Socially." Tom pulled out a receipt. "This is from Wine and Spirits Liquor Store, dated last Tuesday. You purchased 3 bottles of vodka and 2 boxes of wine. Is that social drinking?" Matt objected, but the damage was done. Rachel's facade cracked slightly. "I was shopping for a party." "A party on a Tuesday, while you have custody of Lily?" The questions continued, each one chipping away at her story, but Rachel held her composure, and Matt was brilliant at redirecting, painting Tom's questions as an attack on a struggling single mother. Then Tom played the voicemails. Rachel's drunken voice filled the courtroom, slurring threats, admitting to planning false abuse allegations. The judge's expression shifted. This wasn't the composed woman on the stand. Matt argued the recordings were taken out of context, that Rachel was responding to my provocations, that she was venting frustration, not making real threats, but everyone could hear the truth in those messages. The next day brought character witnesses. Rachel's witnesses were polished, prepared. They spoke of her devotion as a mother, her involvement in the community, her strength in dealing with a difficult ex-husband. It was a coordinated attack, and it was effective. Our witnesses told a different story. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Peterson, testified that I was the parent who attended every conference, who volunteered for field trips, who helped with homework. She mentioned carefully that Rachel had shown up intoxicated to the spring concert. Our neighbor, Mr. Wu, described the nights he'd seen Rachel stumbling home, the times I'd had to leave work to pick up Lily because Rachel was indisposed. He'd kept a log, dates, and times because he'd been concerned for Lily's safety. Then Sarah took the stand. Matt tried everything to discredit her. She was bitter about losing Rachel's friendship. She was biased toward me. She was unreliable. But Sarah held firm. I watched my best friend turn into someone I didn't recognize, she said. The drinking got worse after the separation, not better. She would call me drunk while Lily was asleep in the next room. She drove intoxicated with Lily in the car. I have the footage. The doorbell camera video was grainy, but clear enough. Rachel, stumbling to her car, Lily trailing behind in her pajamas, clearly upset. It was 11 p.m. on a school night. Rachel drove off, weaving slightly. Rachel's mask finally slipped. She stood up in court, shouting, "That's not what it looks like. Sarah's lying. She's always been jealous of me." Judge Harrison had to call for order. Matt tried to calm his sister, but the damage was done. The composed, victimized mother was gone, replaced by the real Rachel, angry, defensive, unpredictable. Dr. Chen was recalled to testify. Her updated evaluation was measured but significant. While both parents clearly love Lily, I have concerns about Mrs. Brennan's stability and judgment. The child shows signs of anxiety around her mother's unpredictable moods. Matt attacked Dr. Chen's methods, her conclusions, her qualifications, but she remained professional, clinical, unshakable. Then came the moment that changed everything. Judge Harrison made an unusual decision. She wanted to hear from Lily, not in open court, but in her chambers, with only the court reporter present. Both Matt and Tom argued against it for different reasons. Matt knew Rachel's coaching might not hold up under gentle questioning. Tom worried about the pressure on Lily, but the judge insisted. Lily was in there for an hour. When she came out, she ran to me, not Rachel. She buried her face in my chest and whispered, "I told the truth, Daddy, the real truth." Later, Tom would tell me what the court reporter had shared. Lily had been honest in a way only children can be. She loved Mommy, but Mommy scared her sometimes. Mommy smelled funny and acted strange. Mommy had told her to lie about Daddy being mean, but Daddy was never mean. Daddy read to her every night over video call, even when he couldn't be there. Daddy never missed a tea party. "Where do you feel safest, Lily?" Judge Harrison had asked. "With Daddy. Always with Daddy. But please don't tell Mommy. She cries when I say that." Rachel must have sensed things shifting because she made one last desperate play. The next morning, she showed up to court with a black eye and bruised arms. She claimed I'd confronted her in the parking garage the night before. The problem was, I'd been at my parents' house, helping my father repair his deck. My mother had posted photos on Facebook, time-stamped, showing me there until midnight. The parking garage had cameras showing Rachel arriving alone, uninjured. Matt tried to salvage it, suggesting the injuries happened after the cameras, that I'd been stalking her, but even he seemed to know it was over. The security footage from Rachel's apartment complex showed her returning home alone, uninjured, at 11:47 p.m. Tom presented one final piece of evidence. Rachel's credit card records showing purchases at 3 different liquor stores in the past week, totaling over $400, while she had temporary custody of Lily. Closing arguments were passionate on both sides. Matt painted me as a calculating manipulator who turned everyone against a struggling mother. He asked the court to see past the orchestrated campaign against Rachel and recognize a mother's fundamental right to her child. Tom was simpler, more direct. He presented the facts, the voicemails, the drunk driving, the lies about abuse, the testimony of teachers and neighbors, and even the court-appointed supervisor. He asked the court to consider one question: where would Lily be safest and most loved? Judge Harrison took a week to decide. 7 days of agony, of Lily asking when she'd see me next, of Rachel's increasingly erratic texts ranging from apologies to threats. When we returned to court, Rachel looked different. The polished exterior was gone. She looked tired, defeated, and somehow smaller. Matt sat beside her, his usual confidence dimmed. Judge Harrison's ruling was comprehensive and devastating to Rachel's case. She methodically dismantled each of Rachel's claims, noting the inconsistencies, the lack of credible evidence, the concerning pattern of false allegations. The court finds that Mrs. Brennan has engaged in a systematic campaign of parental alienation and false accusations, she stated. The evidence of alcohol abuse is substantial and concerning. The attempt to fabricate physical abuse is particularly troubling. She paused, looking directly at Rachel. "Mrs. Brennan, you need help, real help, not the kind you seek 2 weeks before a custody hearing." Then came the words I'd prayed for. The court awards full physical and legal custody to Mr. Jacob Kemp. Mrs. Brennan will have supervised visitation every other weekend until she completes a comprehensive rehabilitation program and parenting classes. Rachel collapsed, sobbing, not the practiced tears from her testimony, but raw, genuine grief. For a moment, I felt sorry for her. This was the woman I'd once loved, the mother of my child, and she'd lost everything. Matt was already talking about appeals, but his heart wasn't in it. Even he knew it was over. That was 3 years ago. The appeals went nowhere. Rachel did complete rehab, real rehab this time, not just for show. She's been sober for 2 years now, and her visits with Lily have gradually become unsupervised. Lily is 10 now, thriving in ways that amaze me every day. She's confident, brilliant, kind. The anxiety that clouded her during the custody battle has faded, replaced by the natural joy of a child who knows she's loved and safe. We still have our tea parties every Saturday. They've evolved from imaginary tea with stuffed animals to real conversations over hot chocolate and cookies. Last week, she asked me about the custody battle. She's old enough now to understand more of what happened. Were you scared, Daddy, that you might lose me? I set down my mug, choosing my words carefully. I was terrified, Princess, but I knew that the truth would come out eventually, and I knew that no matter what, I would never stop fighting for you. She was quiet for a moment. Mom says she's sorry. For everything. She says the sickness made her do bad things. Your mom loves you, Lily. She always has. Sometimes adults make mistakes, big ones. What matters is that she's getting better. Do you forgive her? I thought about the year of hell Rachel put us through, the lies, the manipulation, the fear that I might lose my daughter. Then I looked at Lily, healthy and happy and whole. I'm working on it, sweetheart. For you, I'm working on it. Tomorrow is Lily's 11th birthday. Rachel will be there. We've reached a place of careful cooperation for Lily's sake. It's not friendship, may never be, but it's peace. As I write this, Lily is in her room, video chatting with friends about her party plans. Her laughter fills our home, the same home where I once sat terrified, reading custody papers. The walls are covered with her art, her academic awards, photos of our adventures together. The tea set still sits on the shelf in her room, a reminder of the tradition that kept us connected through the darkest time. These days, she says she's too old for tea parties, but last Saturday, she suggested we have one anyway, for old time's sake, Daddy. We sat at her little table, knees bumping the underside, sipping imaginary tea from tiny cups. And for a moment, she was 7 again, and I was reading her stories about brave princesses, promising that everything would be okay. It was more than okay. It was perfect. The custody battle taught me that father's love isn't measured in legal documents or court victories. It's in the bedtime stories, the scraped knee kisses, the math homework struggles, the proud tears at school plays. It's in showing up every single day, no matter what battles you're fighting in courtrooms or in life. Rachel still struggles, but she's trying. Matt apologized to me last year, admitted he'd let sibling loyalty cloud his judgment. The extended family has slowly healed, understanding that Lily needs all of us, even if we can't all be in the same room comfortably yet. And Lily? She's become my greatest teacher. She's shown me that children are resilient, that love transcends legal battles, and that sometimes the most powerful testimony comes from the smallest voices speaking their truth. As I tuck her in tonight, she sleepily murmurs our old ritual, "Love you more than all the stars in the sky, Daddy. And I love you more than all the fish in the sea, Princess, forever and always." The custody papers are filed away now, gathering dust. They're just papers. What we have, this life, this love, this unbreakable bond, no court could ever truly threaten. We won more than custody. We won our future together.